You have to watch this video before you hire anyone in your fitness business. In this video, I'm going to tell you the biggest mistakes that I've made since hiring people inside all of my businesses so that you don't make the same mistakes. There's really only 8 key considerations that you've got to think about. I'm going to list them all out in this video, and I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if I was you and I was looking to hire my first, second or third person. This is something that we normally just share with our coaches, but I'm going to give it to you today for free, so get ready to take notes. So before we even think about hiring, you've first got to identify what your current bottlenecks are. When you identify your bottlenecks, that's when you can decide who's going to come in and what role you can then advertise for to reduce that bottleneck, push past that. So for example, it could be that you're at an income cap, you can't take any more clients on, maybe you don't have enough time, maybe you want more time back so that you can actually take time off with your family at the weekend and things like that. So first identify the bottlenecks, and then we can bring in the right person that's going to reduce those bottlenecks. So for example, one of the most common first hires that fitness business owners make is success coaches. Now, a success coach simply is to come into your business, it's to reach out to clients, it's to manage touch points, it's to lighten the load of delivery and fulfillment with you and your fitness business. Let's say every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you reach out to clients who are kind of stuck and things like that. You message them, hey, how's your week going? Giving them that extra accountability and support and structure. A success coach is massively going to reduce the time that you spend in the business so that you can then work on the business and growing it with marketing, creating videos, creating content, things like that. Now, this is the hire that if you made it, it will have the biggest impact on your business because your clients get a better service, which will lead to better results, more retention, and more income. Now, the biggest thing with this is you're actually handing off a lot of your business. You've probably spent years building up this baby of your business where you're in control, no one else sees what's going on. You speak to your clients one-to-one in group settings, but now someone else is going to come in and speak to your clients as well. It's a difficult thing to let go, but it will have the biggest impact. And as a first hire, it's the thing that the clients are going to see and witness before any systems, before any back-end things. Your next hire could be a virtual or personal assistant. Now, the biggest bottleneck this is going to help with is time. This is going to be doing a lot of the admin stuff for you, a lot of the back-end stuff. Maybe it's payments, maybe it's, getting together metrics for your clients, weight, progress pictures, all these kind of things that's really going to lighten the load for you inside your business. You get different types of virtual assistants and personal assistants. They could be customer facing, they could be back-end stuff, but really it's about finding tasks that you no longer want to do inside your business so that they can take those tasks away from you. Before I tell you the third and final one, I want you to hit subscribe. It's down below. Just pause the video, hit it, then come back. I'll just wait here awkwardly until you do it. Perfect, glad you've subscribed. Now the next one is a variety of stuff. It's like appointment setters, a closer, someone who takes your sales calls, and videographers and things like that. You can look at this in 2 ways. If you're struggling to grow your business, you're probably going to want to get an appointment setter to get you more calls booked. What an appointment setter is, for anyone who doesn't know, is someone who prospects on your behalf for your business and gets people on calls, qualifies them, and eventually they can sign them up as well. It might be slightly different. You might have someone who does appointment setting, and then you have a closer, someone who takes your sales calls. So like I said, there's 2 ways to look at this. You might not have enough sales calls booked. You might not be prospecting enough, so you want more of that. Or you might have plenty. You might have fulfillment dealt with, so you might hire a success coach and now you're just ready to grow and scale. So actually you might want an appointment setter so that you can get the volume through, so you can get more sign up, so you can break past that income milestone that you're stuck at. Next is like videographers, photographers, things like that. In today's world, they're essential. It should be part of your outsourcing and part of your investing in your business. Again, 2 sides to the coin here is that if your business is going well and you're getting consistent lead flow, you could argue that you need a videographer then to amplify that even more, or the fact that you're dealing with a lot of fulfillment and your marketing starts to slip because there's only so many hours in the day. So hiring a videographer or a photographer to do a bunch of stuff in your marketing or for events and things like that is going to allow you to have content for months and a year to come, which allows you to backlog it so you can stick to what you do best, which is coaching and just enjoying your job. So I guess it's just thinking about what you don't like doing, what you need help with, what a specific job can add to your business. Quite often I see coaches just looking for the next shiny thing, so they might hire a videographer, but their back-end systems, they're not getting a lot of client results. Clients are kind of not disengaging a lot of the time. So going away and hiring a videographer or a photographer to bring more clients in, you're only bringing more clients into a broken service. But equally, you could be investing in a success coach who can get the clients up to those standards. But again, this is a whole host of people watching this. You could have 10 clients, not enough people to test your service. You're definitely not ready for a success coach. In which case, could you be ready for a videographer to bring more people in because the quality of your content? something that you have to consider for you, your own unique business. Point number 2 is to look for relevant people with skills and personality. Gone are the days where you ask someone for their CV and look at their qualifications and things like that. Now, all the jobs that I mentioned previously, ideally you want someone with experience, someone that can show you their work, show you what they've done in the past in the same industry as you. I wouldn't say this is absolutely necessary, because if you get good vibes from someone who's new and up and coming, especially success coaches, you know, you've had a client who's went through the service, had an amazing transformation using your service, and then they've become a personal trainer as well. Those people are ideal to use because they know the values of the company, they've been through your service, they know it inside out, and they've probably built a connection with their fellow clients, and they've probably built a connection with your clients as well. So it's not as if it's like this is this unfamiliar face, now you're going to be doing your check-ins. You want to kind of pick someone that aligns with your brand. So if they've got similar personality traits to you, when you work together, the chemistry is going to be much better. Instead of just hiring someone or outsourcing someone that is just going to fix a job that you can't do, you're always going to be up against it, and it's just going to give you more work in the long term. So just look for people that you get a good vibe from. Maybe someone's not as experienced as the other person, but you know what? You love their personality, you think they'd be a great fit. Then I would rather spend time training that person up than getting someone who's a bit more qualified, but maybe doesn't fit in with you and your clientele. Number 3 is just start to do interviews. You might already have someone in mind, so you might think, do you know what? That person's going to be a great success coach, or I love that videographer or photographer's work. When you're outsourcing, you're not going to interview someone, but definitely have a sit down and chat with them. Don't just fling money at them, or don't just ask them their prices and then they tell you. Ask them what they can contribute to the project. Ask them for their own input. One of the biggest things that I love in running a business is when someone comes to me with ideas. It's not just you barking orders, because number 1, you're not as creative as a videographer or photographer. Number 2, they specialise in that, so you should be getting their specialty across, which is going to improve your work. But it's the same as hiring a success coach or whatever. Anybody who's going to be speaking to your clients, you want to make sure that they speak professionally, they have a personality, and that way you can actually trust them. And that's the biggest thing here when it comes to hiring, is trust. Number 4 is just clearly define the job role and specifications. I can't tell you how many times I hired people just to cover a job, give them the task and crack on, when actually I should have really defined exactly what they had to do. Now, this isn't in any kind of like black and white contract where it's like you must do this, you must do that. You have a bit of a flexibility approach, but you really have to sit down and look at what you do on a weekly basis to then look at what you can hand off. Biggest problem with fitness business owners is everything's inside their head. How they do things, the way they operate, because we don't have to answer for anybody typically, all in here. Then when you hire someone and they ask you, well, how do you do that? It's like, I just kind of do it. And that's going to be very difficult for you to work together if you're not telling them what you need. And the best way to do this, which I'll touch on in a second, is to have a list. This also allows you guys just to be very, very clear and transparent with each other. There's no, you've missed this, or you never told me to do that. Just list it all out, have a conversation with it, go back and forward, refine it, get their input, and then both just agree on it, and then you can move forward. That takes me to my next point, which is number 5, don't bring them onto a broken system. Now, a perfect example of this is when someone comes on your service as a success coach or virtual assistant to do a specific job, and it's all over the place. Maybe you haven't even automated some of it to help them as well. You've got to remember now, with systems so advanced these days, when you get systems in place, it's going to help the other human being that's in with you, and it's going to make their job 2, 3, 4 times faster. You might have saw my previous YouTube video with personal trainers losing their job to AI. In there we touched on using AI, using systems to help human beings, and just because you're hiring someone doesn't mean that they can't also use AI and systems to help them. So don't hire someone to fix something that's broken, because it's only going to lead to them cleaning up your mess, and so you as well. And then you're going to blame them, they're going to blame you, and it just starts a whole host of problems. Number 6 is create standard operating procedures. What this basically means is the list that I mentioned earlier, but you put it down as an operating procedure, and I'm talking about everything here. So let's imagine your fitness business and your clients check in Friday and Saturday. They're allowed to check in before a certain time. You have to write down every single thing as if you're speaking to a 12-year-old. Not that your member staff's a 12-year-old, but it has to be so clear and obvious, no jargon. Okay, what form does the client use to check in? When do they have to check in by? What questions are being asked and why? What happens when they score under 5 out of 10? What's the next action step? What happens if they score over that? What happens if their weight hasn't budged? What happens if they don't send photos because they were too busy? These are all the things that you have to consider that you just do automatically in your fitness business right now. But when you hire a success coach, you have to lay it all out on the table, because they don't know. Chances are that you've been coaching for years, and then you're bringing a success coach on who's less experienced than you. You have to go back a couple of years levels and bring them up to speed. Now this is the same as outsourcing or hiring a videographer or hiring a virtual assistant. Lay it all out, actually build it with them. So talk through the task that you do, and I bet you for the first time ever when you talk through it, you'll start to realise that some of it doesn't actually make sense. Some of it can be cut right down, because the chances are you built something in your business when you were busy and frantic and you're just glad it was built, but you've probably never revisited it since. So actually when you hire a member of staff, both of these can revisit it. One of the things we did with Upgrade Nate program is I built it with the members of staff so that they knew it just as good as me and it wasn't in my head. So it's worth rebuilding things so that both of you are up to speed, because it's a new thing you've just built. Number 7 is allow time for error. Trust me, this was the same when I took my fiance Cheryl on board the program, the business, when we opened the gym and things like that. I never really realised, because number 1, everything was in my head. Number 2, she was a brand new coach, so we're just trying to get up to speed with everything else. She came onto a business with 70 clients, so it was a bit frantic. And I just figured, because, and this is my fiance who I live with, I figured by speaking to her every day we'd get her up to speed quickly, when actually it's just a natural process. And as well as that, when you bring someone on your business, the business is now new, there's a new upgrade to it. So actually a lot of the stuff you are now doing, you have to both learn and pivot together. So communication is absolutely clear here. You don't want someone starting to resent their job, maybe feeling like they can't tell you something. Equally, you don't want to sit there feeling like a member of staff isn't pulling their weight and it's all you think about. Because trust me, see, when they're not pulling their weight because you haven't trained them properly, you'll think about it morning, afternoon and night. They'll maybe then say something to a client that you wouldn't have said, and it just creates this divide, and you're almost resentful for having them there, but you maybe don't want to lose them because they're doing a job that you can't be bothered doing anymore. So make time for error, and I'm talking 90 days minimum, and regular calls in those first 90 days every single week to just touch base. How do you think things are going? Did anything pop up? Don't let anything build up in the background, because that's how arguments happen, and that's how you kind of end up back at square one, wasted 90 days of training someone, when actually if you just took your time with it, realise it's a long-term project, then brilliant. The example I gave you there was Cheryl. That was my partner who I stay with every day, and we talk about it every day. Can you imagine hiring a coach or a virtual assistant or a videographer, marketing, and you can't have that level of closeness? It's going to be even longer. Number 8 is just the boring stuff. Write up a couple of contracts, get both of you to look at it, have your lawyer look at it if you need to. Really just look at how you can both feel secure from signing your name on that. Don't have it to the point where you feel like you're twisting their arm, you're taking advantage of someone and things like that. Just get it down. Personally, what I would consider for yourself with having a success coach is make sure you've got a non-compete agreement where they can't just go ahead and, for example, if you hire someone, a coach for your gym, they can't open a gym within sort of 6 miles of your area, so that there's a non-compete there. You might want to also consider things like your intellectual property, your documents, your systems and things like that. They can't share that with anyone else, which is understandable because you've spent money and time building that. But really try and look at it as, okay, here's the agreement, here's the standard operating procedures, here's what I expect, here's the contract, here's how you're going to get paid, here's how I'm going to be as an employer, valuable to you and so that you can trust me, and vice versa. And that's pretty much it. That's the 8 key points. So I did promise you at the start of the video what I would do if I was you and I was about to make my first hire in my fitness business. I would consider the stuff that you don't like doing. So for me personally, I couldn't be bothered with check-ins anymore. I'd done them for so many years with so many clients that I just couldn't face them anymore. So the first thing that I wanted Cheryl to do was to take them. But in order for her to take them to the standard that I was at, because I've been doing it a number of years, or to get as close to that as possible, I had to go back to the drawing board and strip it all apart, and also fix it in terms of like take away any wastage. Just because I was doing it that way didn't mean to say it was perfect. First thing I would do is look at the things that you dislike doing. I'm not saying give them to someone so they can pick up your rubbish and pick up the crap tasks. Have the stuff in a way that's friendlier for someone to take on board, but also get their input as well. And you don't want someone coming on board who's just picking up all your rubbish stuff, because they won't last long. So think about how you can revamp the actual task itself and make it exciting for that person to do. So if I was you, I would look at your biggest, most frustrating bottleneck, whether that's time doing check-ins every weekend, whether it's the fact that you don't get enough calls booked, whether that's you need more client fulfillment, whether it's you need client results and more touch points. Think about that. Try and not think about what everybody else is doing in this world, hiring all these things. Think about what you need, because whatever you need the most, it's going to move your business forward the quickest. So I'd love to know, are you ready to hire in your fitness business? Chances are you've probably put it off far too long. I'm not being funny, but in 2023, I want to challenge you to stop becoming Joe Blogs PT, just this one man, one woman band where it's just you and that's it, and you're wearing this badge of honor that you're so busy and you work so hard. It's time to expand. I want you to start thinking company, start start thinking bigger picture. And if you're struggling to identify what those bottlenecks are, you can see all the links in the description below if you want to chat to me or one of my team, and we'll be happy to help. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. You can head over to Instagram, The Coach's Mentor, to drop me a follow, and of course, comment away with any questions and I'll be happy to help.